Get in the studio and show me something.
Oh, wow.
And it's crazy how God works, because he had gave me a couple beats and I was listening to the beats on the way to the studio, not even knowing that I was going to get in there. And I already had like a little idea for a hook in my mind.
So when you
already.
stay ready, you ain't got to get ready.
That's right.
It's your girl Jessica Jeans with Up Above Entertainment, and we are here with an exclusive interview with Up Above Entertainment artist Cory With The Keys. Hey. Thank you for being here with me today.
Man, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be with Miss Jessica Jeans. Finally get my interview.
Yes, and you drove 3 hours. So you're from Killeen, Texas, and you roll down here to Houston often. You're tapped in with the culture. You've been coming down here for a minute. You're part of the Up Above Entertainment family, so you're out here doing festivals and shows and all types of different things and recording in here. So how was your drive in?
And I got to say, I was born and bred in Central Texas, but H-Town is the second home. Hey. They've shown me a lot of love. I'm tapped in with some legends out here. So, it's kind of a boring drive. It's all back roads in the country, but when I get here, it's always worth it. And I'm going to keep coming back again and again to make it happen.
No, for sure. So you've tapped in with, like you said, a lot of legends, including Lil Flip. He is, the president of Up Above Entertainment. So you guys been tapped in for a minute. Y'all doing music together, locked in. So how's that relationship going?
Man, that's the bro right there. It's crazy the way we linked up. I believe in God, and it was some divine intervention. But we linked up for a purpose. A lot of doors have opened. I feel like him being a legend and embracing me and putting me on a platform has helped me. And I go really hard to make sure I'm an asset to his legacy as well. So it's a great thing.
How did y'all end up meeting? How did y'all link up?
Man, so it's crazy. We had a local venue where he was performing and I was opening as well. And I also own a car dealership in Killeen, Texas. So me and him, we were backstage. We chopped it up. We exchanged numbers, never thought anything else about it. And then the guy that had brought him down, shout out to Scott, he hits me up one day. He said, hey, bro, Flip needs a car. And he don't want none of the red tape, none of that kind of stuff. He just wants to put his money down and go. I'm like, bet, we can make that happen. So I actually went and got a nicer high-end Mercedes that I knew he would like and brought him down. He got the car. And when he did, I do music. And a lot of the music, I didn't want to be a broke artist. So I would tie the music into my dealership doing jingles and commercials, but tie it into cars.
Okay.
But music is the passion. I always knew that was just temporary. I was going to show the world what I could really do. And I was just to that point where I was ready to start doing that. So I told Flip, I said, man, look, I already know. I've heard the song where you said everybody wants you to listen to their demo. And no, I got shows to do. And y'all know the rest of that. So I'm like, look, I'm going to let you hear a song.
You didn't want to be that guy.
I didn't want to be that guy. But I'm like, man, look, listen to this song. Tell me what you think. And if you rock with it, cool. If
I'll
you
give you
don't,
a deal. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, if you, nah. I'm like, look, if you rock with it, cool. If you don't, I'll be your car salesman and we can keep it business like that, but just give it a listen. And to my surprise, he actually gave it a fair listen. And he was like, man, hold on, you actually got something. Like, this could be a different bag. Like, we could get to the country music money, to the rap money. Okay. You got the look, we might could do something. And then I believe that when opportunity knocks, you got to be prepared to walk through the door. So he invited me out to H-Town one time. And I'll never forget, it was kind of like Eminem being put on stage to freestyle. We're in the studio, and he's like, hey, Cory With The Keys, you say you do music, huh? Get in the studio and show me something.
Oh, wow.
And it's crazy how God works, because he had gave me a couple beats, and I was listening to the beats on the way to the studio, not even knowing that I was going to get in there. And I already had like a little idea for a hook in my mind.
So when you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready.
That's right. So I stepped in there and did my thing. They were like, okay. I remember it was like 6 or 7 people all thugged out gangster. They're looking at me like, man, what's this white boy gonna do? And then I see him like start nodding like, okay, all right, he got something. And then it was history from there. We was locked in.
Yeah. So then you guys worked on a couple of projects, and but you ended up getting tied in with Up Above Entertainment. And, Up Above Entertainment is a new record label here in Houston. It's been around for probably about a year. And you've been rocking since day one with Up Above Entertainment. So
One of
how
the
did
originals.
all of that like come about?
So it's crazy how God puts people in your path for a reason. The same way with me and Flip, I feel like Marco, the
Marco
owner of
Gonzalez.
yes, the owner of Up Above, was the same type of situation. So I had came down to visit Flip, and he was like, "Hey man, I want you to meet up. I've been talking to this guy that's starting a record label, and I admire hustlers from any different area or whatever their type of business may be. I admire people that go get it. And so I was talking to Marco, and he kind of told me like, hey, I was going through, I don't know if I should put too much of his business, but he was going through a divorce situation. He felt like the lawyers weren't taking care of him. So he decided he wanted to become a lawyer and created this huge firm, this amazing firm. And he's always loved music, and he wanted to make a record label, and he put his mind to doing that. So I'm like, man, I respect somebody that can put their mind to something
Mm-hmm.
and execute. So I was intrigued just by his story in the first place. And while we were sitting in his office, Flip showed him Started From the Bottom, which is my best song so far with me and Lil Flip. And he loved the music. He loved the visual. He was like, man, when we put something together, we might have to get you on the team. And then, of course, he ended up hiring Flip to be the president of the urban division. And of course, Flip said, man, I got the number one artist that I got to bring in. And he had already met me and seen the content, and he already rocked with me. So it just made sense to put it all together.
Wow. So you have country roots. And is that how you would describe your music? Because I do feel like it's still got a little hip hop going with it,
Oh, yeah,
so
absolutely.
it's a blend, it's a fusion. So for those who haven't heard your music yet, how would you describe it?
If you had to put it in a box, I would say something along the lines of country rap. But I really feel like I can't be defined and put in a box. I always say you got country people that play with rap, and you got rappers that play with country. But I'm the only one out there, in my opinion, that can really go hard in the country, really sing and do the country, and then really go bar for bar, take the best lyricists out there, and I'll go bar for bar with them all day long. And then, I've got different influence. I can do a rock type swag, R&B. I really feel like it's hard to put me in a box, but if you had to say one, I would say country rap.
Okay. All right. So let's take it back. I have heard there's a record that you have called 13 Years Old.
Yes.
And that's a pretty deep record. And when I heard, some of the things that you had been through, I know that's probably just the tip of the iceberg of what Cory the Keys has had to go with, right? Go through. Talk to us a little bit about your upbringing, where you grew up at, and how music came into the picture for you.
So growing up, we all have our struggles. In my particular struggle, my dad was incarcerated. He was gone pretty much my entire childhood. My mom, she was a great mother. She loved me, took care of me, but she also struggled with addiction. And she was actually like the queen pin in our area. When I was first born, she was all about me. Everything was good. Then when her mom passed away, she kind of went back into the old lifestyle. So she was the plug when it came to methamphetamines and that type of stuff. So she was one of those rare people, and I get a lot of my personality from her. She was the life of the party, the center of attention. She went to college. She was a registered nurse, but then behind the scenes, she's the plug and she's doing those things. And I was her only child. So I felt like I was the man of the house, and I was the shoulder that she would lean on. Even when I was 8, 10 years old, I had no business being a therapist or trying to help her in her situations. That's what I felt I had to do. And then by the time I was 13, she had got very sick. So she had to change her ways because she could no longer live that lifestyle. And me being a hard-headed young man, that's when I started getting into that lifestyle. I started smoking weed. And I'll never forget, I used to save up my lunch money. I'd get like $3 a day. And I would save that money for like 2 days, go to the weed man and get a blunt. And I remember one day, he's in all the jewelry, all the fresh clothes. I'm like, man, how do you always come fresh, looking fly every day? And he was like, man, dumbasses like you saving up their lunch money and giving it to me. I'm like, wow. I said, I'm never going to be him again. So I saved up for a couple weeks, bought me a half ounce of weed, broke it down, served everybody at the school. And from there it was on. I was moving pounds and I got into that lifestyle. And my mom saw my potential. She wanted something better for me. So she tried to get me to not live that lifestyle. But me being hard-headed, I'm like, man, you did it until you couldn't no more. You can't tell me. So then she kicked me out the house thinking I would struggle too much and I would come back and beg to follow the rules. But being the person that I am, I went twice as hard. The next time she see me, I'm in a new slab. I got my own house. I'm 16 years old, living out on my own. And she was like, man, that's not how it was supposed to happen. But with that lifestyle, something that I've learned is inevitably that lifestyle leads to two places. It's going to lead to prison or it's going to lead to the graveyard. Mm-hmm. And eventually I ended up going to prison. So as a young man, I was in prison in and out a couple of times until I got the sentence that really set me down. And I did 6 years in prison. Wow. And at that point, so the song 13 Years Old is describing that story of being 13 and being in the game. And then by the time I'm 16 out on my own, just hustling, trying to make it, no father figure, no guidance, just me out there getting it. And, eventually, like I said, it led to prison and I had to serve 6 years flat. And during that time, I realized that I had one of two options. I was either going to just succumb to living a life of prison and poverty. This is I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life. Or I'm going to use this time as a boot camp to better myself mentally, physically, spiritually. Once you're at that point, you can't call mama, you can't call the preacher, you can't call nobody. You're there. You got to live in that jungle. Mm-hmm. But I made a determination that once they finally let me out those gates, I was never coming back again. And I was coming for everything that was mine. And in those prison journals, I wrote down that I would be a business owner, that I would own multiple properties, that I would get signed to a record label, that I would sell millions of records and I would change the world. And I'm doing all of those things right now. Everything that I wrote down in that journal is coming to fruition as we speak.
Wow. Wow. That's beautiful. I'm so proud of you. Just want you to know that.
Thank you.
There's people that have a similar story to you that are probably listening. And then there's people that have had the same story, but didn't make that choice, didn't say to themselves, I'm not coming back. There's people that will loop and loop and loop or have completely given up. What do you think that it was in you that you said determination, and that's one thing, but where would you say that came from?
So my comedic answer is I don't like being locked in a cage with a bunch of dudes. I love women. So that's not the place I wanted to spend my life. Okay. That's the comedic answer. But in reality, I've always known since I was little that I was blessed by God and that I had a purpose. And my biggest thing is not to have the money, the cars, the clothes. My thing is I want to be remembered. I want to be in the history books. I want to leave a legacy that my kids and their kids will look back and say, man, Grandpa Simon, he changed the whole game for us. And that's my goal. And I knew I didn't want my legacy to be, man, this kid was so smart. He was so talented and he threw it all away. I wanted my legacy to be, he overcame all those trials and tribulations and set the example and changed his lineage forever and broke all the generational curses. And that's what I'm going to do.
Word. So how did the music come into play? Did this happen while you were incarcerated? You're in there using the pen, and is that where it happened?
It's so funny because I got a lot of people on my social media that were in prison with me, and they'll comment on my page. They're like, bro, you're really doing it. So I used to be, now mind you, I'm a solo white guy in prison, which is not the easiest thing to be. It's harder for a white guy in prison, especially I didn't run with no gangs or anything like that. So when they see you rapping or doing certain things, you're going to get tested by the whites and the blacks. But I'm the type, I'm going to do what I want. I'm going to eat with who I want. I'm going to be me. I'm always going to be authentic. And eventually, after I would get tested, I would get my respect. And I remember so many times that I'd have 10, 15 people around me and we're beating on a table. And they're like, man, hit another one, bro. Hit another song. Like, bro, I'm tired of doing song. Man, sing that country one. Do that one where you were rapping. And that was one of the things that helped me get through that stressful time and helped a lot of them. And they'll get on my social media like, bro, I knew when you were beating on that table that you was going to get out and do something. I can't believe you're doing it. So, yes. Now, the music originally started, shout out to my mom again. She loved music. And I remember being as little as I can remember, 5, 6, she had one of them old school karaoke machines. Mm-hmm. And that's where I get the country roots because she would make me sing duets like Shania Twain and Garth Brooks. And she'd have one microphone and I'd have one microphone.
Aww.
And I was that kid that was thugged out selling weed, but still in choir class. Like, I go to choir and go do the little competitions, but then I'd be selling weed in the bathroom when I left. So music has always been a part of my life.
Okay, so I mean, did you know like immediately, like, hey, I got something, or did
I
someone
mean,
have to tell you? Because you mean your parents will encourage you, but when did you know? You're like, yeah, I got
man.
something.
So what I always have known, I listened to songs even when I was a little kid, and I would see like, man, this is a good song, but they should have said this instead of that. That would have made it better.
Mm.
And my mom listened to the country, so I had the country roots. And I'm not the best singer in the world, but I've always sang good. But when I really knew I had some is when I got into the hip hop scene and we started freestyling and stuff. And I could freestyle for hours on end and just come with clever
Oh,
punchlines. I've
really?
always been good with the pen, but the freestyle was cold, and they would be to the point like, bro, like, you sound great, but can we hear Wayne one time? Like, can we hear Jeezy, bro? Like, quit freestyling over everything. And then I was always good with the pen and pad, writing stories, writing poems. So then when I incorporated the writing into the music and really had concepts and ideas and was able to articulate that in the music, then people were like, whoa, bro, this is not
Mm,
the normal ABC one,
right.
two,
You're
three.
not a
Like
karaoke
you tell
singer,
you
like you're an
telling
artist.
stories and you
Yeah.
really, so definitely I would say by the time I was 16, 17, when I wrote my first couple songs, that's when I was like, okay, I really got something here. And then, of course, that's when I went to prison and, I wrote a lot of music in there. I probably got about 100 songs that I wrote in there with no beats that I just need to put beats to and I'm going to be ready to
Yeah, yeah.
rock.
When you get into those?
We got to get them. I'm working on It's hard because I love writing to a beat because you get to feel the energy of the beat. So in there, of course, I'm just
Yeah.
imagining them. So when I get out here and I hear a good beat, then I just want to write something new. But I really need to go back and put some beats to some of this stuff.
Yeah, yeah. That would be nice. I'm
Mm-hmm.
curious to see, because your mentality changes depending on your environment, right? So
Man, so
that'd be
much.
crazy. So when you get out of prison, and one of the things that you had, you were going to be a business owner. So is that where Cory with the Keys comes in? Because you got the keys, you're a salesman, your car sales.
Yes.
So how did that transpire and you becoming a car dealership owner?
So I can tell you this, manifestation is very real. If you put some down on paper and you believe it and you put forth the energy and effort, it will manifest. So it's crazy. While I was in prison, I had a couple people tell me, they were like, man, you would be a good car salesman, bro. You should get into car sales. I'm like, why? Man, just the way you carry yourself, the way you interact. And I'm like, okay. And I heard that a couple of times. And when I got out, I'll never forget, you have to have money coming in. It's hard. They lock you in a cage for all these years. And then you're labeled a felon. It's hard to get jobs. They give you $100 check and kick you to the streets and say, hey, figure it out. And that's why the recidivism rate is so high, because a lot of people can't figure it out. You got bills to pay. You got stuff to do. I can't get a job at McDonald's. What do I do? So I was working at Chili's. I was waiting tables. Imagine this guy, I've been in prison all this time. I'm out here, people are bitching about their food being too cold or I took too long on their drink. And I remember looking in the mirror and just visualizing myself being 40, 50 years old, still with this tray in my hand. I said, man, that ain't going to be my legacy. I ain't doing this. So I went and bought a Walmart suit and tie because I barely had any money. And I bought an $800 Tahoe with the windows busted out so I could drive back and forth. I taped the windows and I would have my Walmart suit and tie in the back. And in between shifts, I would work doubles. I would work the lunch shift, go put on my suit and tie, I would go hit car dealerships. And mind you, I don't know shit about cars. I don't even know where a VIN number is. I don't know nothing about them. But I believe in myself. So I go hit these places. They turn me down. Your record's too bad. You don't have experience. I probably hit about 20 places. I'd come back, change out, work my night shift. And I had tried to do it the right way so many times. I was just about to give up. And I said, you know what? I'm going to do it my way. So I'll never forget there was a movie that I watched in prison. It's called Catch Me If You Can by Leonardo DiCaprio, where he would pretend to be a pilot or whatever.
Yeah.
So I went in there with my little Walmart suit and tie, and I said, look, if y'all want to make some money, y'all need to hire me because I'm going to be your number one salesman. I was the top salesman out in Dallas for 5 years. They closed the dealership down. I'm out here now, and ain't nobody going to outsell me. They're like, oh, wow, what part of Dallas? They started asking me all these questions. I'm like kind of getting nervous, like they know I'm lying. And the dude is like, man, the only reason I'm asking you is because I'm from Dallas. I know everybody out there and all that. I'm like, shit, I should have said Houston. But it's more to the story. It's a crazy story. But I ended up making it through. They hired me. Now they said, since you got all this experience, you're gonna be the #1 salesman. You're not getting no training. You're out on the sales floor. So now I'm looking around, hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of inventory. I don't know shit about cars, but I believed in myself. I started watching YouTube videos. And that's the thing. All the information is out there. If you want to figure out something, you can figure it out. And I just put my mind to it, started hustling hard, became the top salesman in the company. The first month I was the top in the used cars. The second in the whole company, they had like 3 or 4 stores. And then I was the top salesman for 3 years straight. And then I started realizing, man, I'm making these people a lot of money. How can I do this for myself? Because I kind of felt like a slave to the system. I got to be there at 8, leave at 8. Every Saturday I'm working, no time off.
I gotta give them a cut.
Yeah, the big cut.
I
get the baby cut.
Yeah.
And so then I decided I'm going to be a dealership owner. And I took all the steps to do that. And they're telling me, man, you can't do that. You're a felon. They're not going to accept you. You're wasting your time. You're wasting your money. And for about 6 months, they battled me. The state turned me down and said, we're not giving you your license. If you quit now, we'll give you your money back that you did for your application, you know, a couple grand, whatever. I said, I'm not giving up. And I kept fighting. And they're like, you ain't going to beat the state. It's going to take a year or two, and then you're going to lose your money. You're wasting your time. I said, man, I don't care. I came this far. And there was one person on that committee that I had interaction with on the phone. You know, everything else was online. But I told her my story. She kind of got to know me as a person. And right when I was ready to give up again, she called me. She said, I want to let you know that everybody on the committee said, don't do it because of your record. You're not going to be a good person. But I talked to you, and I told them that they need to give you a chance, that you deserve a chance. And if that they didn't let you, that I was going to go with it because I work for them, but I will be talking to the board and I will be fighting it because you deserve a chance. And I just want to let you know that they overturned the decision and you have your dealer's license. So, yeah, it was crazy. It was a blessing, man. God is real. And from that point, you know, they used to call me, for those who really know my story, they used to call me Cory the Car Guy. But I always knew in my logo, if you see my logo here, you see the car, you see the house. I knew I was going to do real estate. I didn't even own my own home at the time, but I knew I was going to do real estate. So I said, Cory the Car Guy ain't going to work because I'm not just going to have cars. And then, you know, I do the music. So someone like, man, what about Cory with the Keys? Because you going to have the cars and the houses and the music.
Yeah.
And so we manifested that. So now I own 4 rental properties. I'm closing next Monday on a 6-plex apartment unit.
Nice.
And I'm able to help felons and people with challenged credit get cars and houses that they normally wouldn't be able to get. And of course, the Keys, you see, I'm about to perform tonight with Lil Flip. And yeah, we're doing it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Like, your story's incredible. Like, I'm so glad that we're chatting about this because the inspiration and just knowing, you know, that everything is possible. And you're an example of just how much everything is possible. No matter what it may seem like your circumstances are around you at that time, it's all about in here and in here.
Everything. And
moving, right? And believing and getting out there. I'm just like blown away with your story. I think that it's incredible. Where do you see yourself now? I mean, it feels like you're accomplishing everything. You know, what else is there? What have you written down in that, you know, journal of yours that's coming? Because now I feel like whatever it's gonna come.
It's coming. It's coming. So my big thing is I've been doing a lot of prison ministry, like going and sharing my story and actually performing. Like me and Flip actually got to go into a prison and I got to speak and tell some of my story, and then we performed a song. And my ultimate goal, of course, I'm going to continue building the car dealership. That's a big part of the brand. I'm going to continue to buy real estate. But a big goal, the music is a platform for so many things. When you have that voice, you're able to share your story and motivate the masses. And that's what I want to do. I'm going to keep grinding hard on this music till I sell millions of records and get that platform where I can share my story of inspiration and hope. And my ultimate goal is, if you've heard of like the TED Talks or you've heard of man, what is his name? Robinson, Tim Robinson. Hold on.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking
Yes.
about? I'm saying it wrong.
Yeah,
but
he's been doing motivation since
yes.
I
What
was
is
a
it? What
kid.
is his name? I'm going blank right now.
I want to say it is Tim
Robbins.
Robbins.
Yes, but you know what I'm talking about. But
Yes.
something like that. My ultimate goal is I want to have a big convention where I can mix music with the message. So be given a motivational speech and a testimony and bring other people in who have a testimony. And then in between that, we break for a 3-song set. And I want to be selling out stadiums where people can go. It's like, man, the music is motivating me and the message. And it's just a whole rejuvenation. And I want to use my platform to be able to inspire and help people.
Man, I mean, and that's really how knowing your purpose, it's almost like the gas that keeps you going, because when you know you have a purpose and you know you have this vision, um, downloaded to you, like everything's going to flow for you, and I love that for you. I'm just so excited for you. Tell me a little bit about the important people in your life and how they've supported you along the way.
So for a long time, I felt like I was just one deep. I had lost my mom. I had lost my dad. I felt like it was me against the world. But I've come to see that I got a lot of people in my corner. So don't get it twisted. I got out, I changed my life, but you still fight. You still struggle with demons. So I had gotten a DWI and I was on the verge of possibly going back to prison and losing everything that I had gained. And I had several high-up members of the community come and speak on my behalf. JT Hahn, he's a car dealer. I had Mr. McLeod come speak on Travis McLeod come speak on my behalf. I've got Flip has been a major mentor and role model. My brother Ray that owns another car dealership. I've got several people and I feel like a man needs a mentor. We need masculine guidance, an older man that has been through some things that can give you guidance. So in the music industry, Flip has been that for me. And then I've got people in the car industry that have been that for me. And then I've got my employees, my assistant Marky, who's kept me in line, my other assistant Cassie. I got people that are around me that want to see me win, that believe in me. And the biggest influence of all, I gotta say, I got 2 beautiful little girls, and they're the ones I want to give them everything I didn't have, and I want to be that example.
I've met them before. They're daddy's girls, and you're such a girl dad.
Yeah, for real. They be running me, man. They do.
What are your hopes for them?
I already had Vivian. She already came on stage with me and rocked the stage in front of about 5,000-6,000 people.
Oh, yeah.
They're both very intelligent. I can see them, at first, of course, I wanted a son, an heir to the throne to take over everything. But I think I'm in good hands with my daughters. I can really see them taking over my car dealership. I can see them doing the music. Both of them are talented in the music. And the beautiful thing, the reason I grind is because my daughters will never have to say they missed the opportunity because daddy couldn't afford it. If they want to be artists, I'm sending their ass to art school. If they want to be in film school, if they want to be cheerleaders, I'm never going to tell them. So one thing with me, they used to ask me, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I said, I'm either going to be a football player or I'm going to be a musician. And they said, oh, well that's cool, but what if that fails? Then what do you want to be? I don't believe in failure. You want to be a cheerleader, baby? You're going to be a cheerleader. I'm going to put everything I can behind you for you to succeed in that. You want to be an astronaut? We fucking doing it. You know what I mean? So I definitely think that they'll carry on the legacy with whatever they choose to do. They're still figuring that out.
Yeah.
But whatever it is, it's all gas, no brakes, and daddy going to tell them that it can be done.
Nice. So moving forward, you're still moving in with the music, making a lot of connections around Texas. So you've got some music on the way. So you're working with FOMOB, you're working with OG Chris.
And OC Chris.
So is this a collab you're doing with them together or separate tracks?
No, things just fell into place. And shout out to my bro Nate Entertainment. He plugged me in. I opened up for D-Baby and some big artists. And he also set up a couple collabs. So first I did the 13-year-old song is a collab with FOMOB. And he's got a super hard verse on that. And I linked in with him right before he started blowing up.
Oh, really?
And so, it's perfect timing. His whole team, everybody that's heard that song believes in it. So we're working on getting the clearances in the video shot for that. And in the meantime, I've been in the right place at the right time. So OC Chris, shout out to him. He's been blowing up doing his thing as well. He just got a major deal. And right before he really just started taking off, him and I got a collab. So we actually just shot the video with director Eli. That's getting edited. We're getting the clearances. So that one should drop. Then the Faux Mob should drop. We got the Started From the Bottom remix finna drop.
Okay, now that
we got some stuff coming, baby.
That right there, that one does stay in my head a lot when I do hear it. And I mean, I don't want to sound biased, but I kind of actually like the remix a little bit. Shouts out to Carlos from the Grupo Negami,
yes.
And Lil Flip, because this fusion, this is special. And when I hear it, it's so special because this is all of Texas. We're talking about, the country. We're talking about H-Town Lil Flip. And then we're also talking about Tejano music. So it's like a cumbia in there. So the way that this fused together, like I said, it's special. And when are we looking forward to getting that one?
Man, that's coming. I think in the next month or two. We had a couple technical difficulties getting everything together. The song is a banger. We've been working on getting the video and everything straight. But I think I don't think that one is going to be a powerful song, and I'll tell you why. The problem in the nation right now is there's too much division. In my opinion, the powers that be want to keep us divided because we're easier to control. They want to play the blacks versus the whites, or the Mexicans are trying to steal our... They want to play this narrative where we battle each other instead of focusing on who's really causing the problems. And this song is a song that brings everybody together. It's got the country fused with the cumbia, fused with the underground rap, with the everything. And I think it's a beautiful thing to see those cultures coming together with the power of music.
Man, I'm telling you. So it's probably already going to be out. By the time people watch this interview, it's probably going to already be out. So make sure you check that out. Started From the Bottom. It's Cory With The Keys, Lil Flip, and also Carlos of Grupo Negami. So that's just so special, like I'm telling you. And you're a very special person, just because I feel like you know your purpose. You're already speaking to people who've lived your life. You're speaking to people now about your story, and overcoming so much. And then now with this fusion of music, bringing cultures together as well. So you're definitely here for a purpose. You're walking in your purpose. You continue to have vision for your purpose. And aside from, business, and aside from just music, just as a human being, I think that you're doing a great job. Thank you. Not a lot of people hear that on a day-to-day basis, but I'm extremely proud of everything that you're doing, everything you're about to do, and continue to do. So I just want to thank you for being on the show today and sharing your life, your story with us. And if people want to keep up with you, how can they do that?
So they need to look up Cory With The Keys on all platforms. Don't put the E in it. It's Cory, regular spelling, with the keys. And I'm on YouTube, Snapchat, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, all the platforms. And I just want to say I appreciate you taking the time to interview me. I know you've interviewed some legends, so I feel privileged to be in the presence. Shout out to Up Above Entertainment. They saw the potential in me and they're backing me. I appreciate that. Shout out to my bro Flip. Shout out to H-Town. Shout out to Central Texas. We are not stopping. We're manifesting everything. So y'all be on the lookout for Cory With The Keys, because we got some major moves on the way.
Right. And that's Up Above. Thank you for joining us.
Let's go.